Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on this lovely sunny Thursday evening. What is going on? I've obviously brought some of the sun back with me from Spain. They reckon it's going to be sunny all weekend, so fingers crossed this weekend against Brighton. 3 o'clock kickoff, win in the sun. That'll be nice. If you're not subscribed, be sure to hit the button. I will be there this Saturday, hopefully celebrating with a few beers after the game on Saturday. But a lot of the talk right now is, skipping ahead to the end of the season, talking about the summer window, what players we want to bring in. Some very exciting ones like Elise from Crystal Palace, like Kelly Lloyd being heavily linked. Understood that Newcastle are very much in talks with the current Bournemouth soon-to-be free agent centre-back, left-back. Talking points are understood to be around. Obviously, he's free. He will be out of contract at the end of the season, but nothing's really free. Nothing's really free in life. And as much as we're not paying Bournemouth, he's still going to want to make sure that his wages are getting that little bit of a bumper. He's going to want to make sure that his signing bonus is getting that big of a bumper. He's going to want to make sure that his blooming agent, his family, his dog, everyone's getting a bumper. So I'm hoping that that's something that can be worked out. And I tell you what, if we can get to the first day of the transfer window with a centre-back done and dusted, it not only, saves us having to look for one, or we're probably still in the market for more defenders, but it just means that it's done it quick. The last thing I want to do is be 2 weeks before the summer ends and paying loads for centre-backs. But anyway, as much as that's all going on, have Newcastle also got their eye on what they've done quite well over the last few seasons, and it's youth, and not just this season, but what Newcastle can do next and further up the pipeline. Great example of this is Yankuba Minter. I mean, in fairness, paid $7 million for the guy. We didn't just give him a few quid to jump on board. We did pay $7 million, but he's joined young age, gone out to Feyenoord, done a fantastic job over there. There's lots of interested parties, in words of Newcastle fans, see what happens next. What is going to happen with this guy? Well, if it's understood, Newcastle are set to bring him back and for him to do the Newcastle pre-season. I think it's the right thing to do. I think he's obviously had a lot of props. He's gone out there, young age. I think he's played 20 plus games, scored around 9 or 10 goals for Feyenoord. Won a trophy. Won the Netherlands equivalent of the FA Cup. Yes, he did get sent off in that game, which is probably not the way he'd hoped it would have gone down, but he was still celebrating at the end regardless. I think he's been a very much a great example of what Newcastle want to do and build, and maybe, Newcastle might not have expected him to have kicked on quite so quickly as he has, and now, we're looking to see maybe, could he be the answer to our right wing position? Well, the reports are that Feyenoord are very interested in trying to keep him for an extra year's loan. Yankuba Minter did say in an interview that he would love to continue at Feyenoord, but that it's up to Newcastle. Haven't said that. What's he going to say? He's getting interviewed by the Feyenoord media guy. Oh, actually, I hate it here. I'm dying to get back to Newcastle where there's some bridges and St James's Park, but it will be very interesting to see what does happen with that one, and I think it's a very good idea that we do get him back prior to next season to take a look. I mean, we'll come on to who we'll link with in a second, but while we're on the topic, Garang Kawal, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Again, 19 years old, we paid, I think it was around £300,000 we paid for him, and I guess, you have to wait and see what happens, because these guys are young, and in fairness, you can say we paid $7 million for Yankuba Minter, we paid $300,000 for Garang Kawal. I mean, there's a huge difference there. There was clearly a big markup on Yankuba Minter for what it could be done very, very quickly. Garang Kawal is taking a little bit of time. Obviously, he had his loan spell up in Scotland. He's then more recently also been over in the Eredivisie, but in a is it Volland he was at, who I think have finished second or third bottom, and since they had a manager change hasn't really kicked on quite so well, but it's understood that he will also be back, in fact possibly quicker than Yankuba Minter. Obviously we go out to Australia straight after the season ends. It's thought that Garang Kawal will actually link up with the side for the post-season tour rather than So, God, this is where we're going now. It's a post-season tour, then it's the break or the Euros or whatever, and then we have another pre-season tour before we head back to the season. There's millions of friendlies, millions of tours. We'll be all over the shop. So Grand Kowal is going to get a chance to get a bit of a look in as well. If I had to guess, I think Minty, unless he comes back and plays really well, I think will probably stay at Feyenoord another year. It would be class to see him link up and do really well, but my hesitation is that we don't want to pull him in too soon. The option could be that we send him out somewhere else. Grand Kowal, I think he needs to get a loan spell that works for him, unless Eddie Howe thinks that actually having him around the training ground might be progressive for him. I think we need to look again. But have we got the next Wonderkid lined up? Because reports from Fabrizio Romano and a few other outlets are saying that Newcastle are very much in talks with the Arsenal youngster, just 18 years old, likened to Saka, tricky, plays right, left, up front, left-footed, thunderbolt, crosses galore, and it is the main man, Kozia Dewberry. As I said, he is coming to an end of his contract with Arsenal. They're still very much in talks with Arsenal, but it's understood Newcastle have their sights on him and are putting a proposal together to try and get him to come our way. Now, I don't know exactly how it works at the age of 18 years old. I don't know if, despite the fact his contract ends, if we still have to pay Arsenal something, or whether it's literally just a clean break and he can head straight over to us. But you can tell by some of the excitement from the Arsenal fans and some of the comments on social media that they're desperate to keep this guy. I think it's just interesting that when you look at how the sides have lined up this season, Newcastle bringing in the likes of Lewis Miley through, as I think has just shone to the world. It's shown we're a team that isn't, and young Minter bringing him in and loading him up for a great spell. It's shown the world that we're taking care of our youngsters and we're giving them a chance. And I think that speaks so much for us going forward, showing young players that if they come to Newcastle, they will get their opportunity. Speaks absolute volumes, because that's often the trouble with young players coming through a Premier League side, is that by the time they do get to 2021, they're just kind of pushed to one side because they never actually had that chance. Kozia Dewberry, no doubt, wants to get his chance in a Premier League side, and the way Newcastle are going right now is we're kind of offering that out. So, as it's understood, Newcastle are putting a proposal together to try and bring him to our side. Look, it's going to be Arsenal, it's going to be Newcastle, it's believed to be a bunch of other European sides as well. So, we'll have to wait and see, but the interest's definitely there, the talk is there. Could he be the next Wonderkid Newcastle to bring in through the door? And it's interesting because Eddie Howe did his overlap interview with Gary Neville. If you've not seen it yet, I think it's actually Eddie Howe's just an interesting bloke, to be honest. It's interesting to hear what he has to say about his career and what he's doing at Newcastle right now. And one of the things he spoke about specifically in that interview was the idea of not bringing in I guess current superstars of players. I mean, we've spoke about this ourselves. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bruno is a superstar, but when he got here, he was known, but not as well known as he is now. Botman was clearly a good player, brought him in, getting called one of the best centre-backs in the league until the injury. Alexander Isak, now don't get me wrong, we paid 70 million for him, and people thought he was a good player, but until we brought him to the Premier League and showed what he could do, it's just brought global recognition. And look at Joe Linton. We are doing that for players right now, and it works at all levels. It's working with the players we're bringing in through the door, and it's working with the youngsters that we are, I guess, revealing to the world. And it's not to say that all of these players will go on and have huge careers at Newcastle, but look at what Man City do. Selling, I mean, maybe they wish they didn't now. Selling Palmer off to Man City for like 50, 60 million or whatever the hell they paid, or didn't pay for him because he came through the youth system. That's the thing. That's what Newcastle needs to start doing. It's building for the future. It's building the first team for the future, but it's building revenue for the future as well. It doesn't sound as great when you're talking about bringing in players to sell. I'm sure that's not what's at the forefront, but I do believe that once we start getting in this youth, and I mean, obviously, Dougie Freeman as well, the Crystal Palace director of football, who's been heavily linked, is thought to hopefully be the man who will oversee this kind of building of all levels, not just at the first team. So let me know your thoughts down below on the Arsenal youngster, Cozy Dubia, if you've heard too much of him or not, as the case may be. Let me know your thoughts on Minty and Gran Kowal. Do they have a chance to prove themselves this summer? Do you think they're ready? Do you think they're not? Do you think we should have Minty playing right wing first game next season? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching as always. As I mentioned, be sure to subscribe. Loads of videos coming up this weekend for the final home game of the season. Still 2 away games to go, still all to play for, so do not miss out. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.